pros and cons to the Baylor at Texas Tech football game. I'm going to go over the cons just to get it out of the way. The offensive line allowed 6.5 tackles for loss. Richard Reese fumbled the ball once on a pitch, and he didn't keep an eye on the ball. 7 points only off of on offense out of 5 turnovers, but granted, one of them was a pick six. So the defense allowed 36 rushing attempts for 149 yards with 1 touchdown. The defense was 8 for 15 on 3rd down. The defense allowed 7 points off turnovers. The defense allowed 23 first downs. Gavin Holmes had 1 punt return for -4 yards. Drake Dabney got hurt during the game, and he never came back in. In fact, he was on crutches. That's not good. Now, there's a bunch of pros. Baylor scored 45 points. That's definitely a pro. The offense had 442 yards overall. Blake Shapen had 19 completions out of 30 attempts for 211 yards with 1 touchdown. Baylor had 59 rushing attempts for 431 yards with 4 touchdowns. The Baylor offense was 12 for 20 on 3rd down. The Baylor offense was 2 for 4 on 4th down. The offense had 26 first downs. Richard Reese had 36 rushing attempts for 148 yards with 3 touchdowns and 3 receptions for 12 yards. Quillen Jones had 8 rushing attempts for 38 yards, including a touchdown at the very end. Well, they were just trying to run that clock, and Texas Tech didn't tackle, so he was just ran all the way through to the end zone, as well as 2 receptions for 18 yards. Blake Shapen had 10 rushing attempts for 30 yards. Gavin Holmes had 5 receptions for 77 yards. Hal Presley had 4 receptions for 58 yards with 1 touchdown. Ben Sims had 1 reception for 25 yards. Isaac Power had 3 punts for 91 yards. I know that's not a great average, but here's the deal. The long was 48 yards, and 2 of those were inside the 20-yard line. The offensive line allowed 1 sack and 4 quarterback hurries all game. The offense had allowed only 1 pass breakup. The defense allowed 17 points, which is pretty impressive against this high-powered spread offense, like that goes up-tempo really fast. The defense allowed 308 yards overall. The defense allowed 159 passing yards. The defense forced 5 interceptions. 5. A.J. McCarty had a 18-yard pick six. Devin Lemire had an interception. Al Walker had an interception. Mark Milton had an interception. Taylor Williams III had an interception. The defense came big in this game because 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. They also had 6 pass breakups and 3 quarterback hurries. I mean, the defense was 2 for 4 on 4th down. Now, I know that's 50%, but some of those 4th down stops were critical. Gorman Randolph had 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss. Gabe Hall had 3 sacks and 3 tackles for loss. Matt Jones and Braden Utley had 0.5 sacks apiece. John Mayers made a 48-yard field goal. John Mayers made all 6 extra points. Noah Rauschenberg had 8 kickoffs that went all for touchbacks in this game. Finally, all on touchbacks. 4 penalties for 46 yards. You got to admit that personal foul roughing the passer, that was a bad call. That was. You can't deny it. He didn't do anything. Baylor dominated time of possession. Of course they did. 40 minutes, 17 seconds to 19 minutes, 43 seconds. I will say, I am surprised that this game was a blowout. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought this game would be within 10 to 14 points either direction, but not by 21 or more. And for all those who think transfer property because of West Virginia got beat bad by Texas Tech and Baylor lost it to West Virginia on the road. That doesn't work. It doesn't. And it's not always accurate. And I even saw a comment, and I chose not to respond, but Texas Tech going to win by 3 touchdowns? Where are you at now? Same thing goes for Big Game Boomer. And yes, I'm going to call him out because he picked against Baylor in this game, as well as his co-host, ATL Jimmy. So, and I know this was pretty much a pick 'em, but I thought Big Game Boomer should have learned his lesson. He picked Kansas last week at home. I mean, what are you doing, man? But if you want to keep picking against Baylor, we'll keep on proving you wrong. And same goes for anybody that picks Baylor wrong. They're not going to win. They're going to keep proving you wrong. This was I know the third quarter was a little dicey when it got down to 1 possession. But the fourth quarter, they dominated. I mean, it is what it is. So, that's all my pros and cons for the game. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. That's going to be the 400 subscribers or more by the end of this year.